It's good to be back. I kind of enjoy coming to this area and then coming back where I was born and where my dad used to flight instruct at, and it got a lot of meaning to me.
Talk to me about the last time you were here.
I just got my driver's license and this sports car activity called autocross, which is basically racing through a bunch of cones, and that was my first time doing it. I was here on the Air Force Base.
So you would have been 16
16
years old. You were living in Houston at the time.
Yes.
Did you give much thought to the fact that this is where one of the stations that your dad served at in the Air Force?
Actually, more where I was born at mainly, but yeah, where my dad used to fly out of.
So what are some of your mom's best memories of the year or year and a half that the family was here in Bryan and your dad was at Bryan Air Force Base?
I don't know, she talks about the neighbor kids that my brother Scott played with. Of course, Coach Bear Bryant lived down around the corner on the same street. She talked about the tornadic weather where these black clouds were so low that she could reach up and touch them.
I think you told me that the cadets would come by
Oh.
before bonfire.
Yeah, the cadets would come by and collect wood for the bonfire with or without permission. And they're a bunch of scavengers, I guess.
Before coming to Bryan Air Force Base, your father was a fighter pilot in Korea during the Korean War. Talk to me about where the family went after you left here.
After we left here, one I remember was Edwards, being out there in the sand, big sandbox. And I guess we're in the officer quarters, kind of a little housing area, but that's about all I remember about it. They had the playground for the kids to go to, which was fenced in, basically giant sandbox. Even though they had a sandbox in the middle of it with, I guess, real sand in it instead of what kind of sand they got out there. But yeah, that's about all I can remember.
And of course, it was there that Gus Grissom became a test pilot, and it was being a test pilot, along with other qualifications, that led to your father being one of the original Mercury 7 astronauts. That was in 1959, I think, when he was selected. So you would have been 5 or 6 years
Yeah.
old. Do you have any memories of that time?
Well, I remember we were living in Ohio. He was there at Wright Pat working on basically his master's degree in math. And when he got selected, and then we moved to Virginia. But it was pretty much a normal childhood as far as I know, except occasionally we'll get stuck in front of the camera like I am today.
He flew on the second American space mission, suborbital flight, then was named the commander for the first two-man flight in Gemini. And in fact, they called the Gemini spacecraft the Gus Mobile.
Yes.
Why?
Because he basically designed it, other than probably the outside shell of it. But he was the one that devised the flight control system so you could maneuver the spacecraft in space, thus becoming the first space pilot, first person to prove that space flight was possible. Made docking and all this other stuff that they do now normal.
But Gus was obviously a husband, a father to you and your brother Scott. What are some of your best memories of him being a dad?
Oh, well, we get to go hunting and fishing. Occasionally we'd load up the car with the neighborhood kids and we'd either go to an Astro game or go out to the drag strip. Just kind of hang out, have fun.
So you have a love of cars, and we'll talk about that more here in a moment. But I'm assuming your dad also had a love of cars?
Oh, yeah. Of course, back then it wasn't thought of, but today it'd probably be child endangerment. My dad was always tuning on the Corvette, and my brother and him would go out and test it, and I was always wanting to go with him, but two-seat car. So I convinced him to put the top up, and I'd ride in the back. Of course, I'd pretend I was playing astronaut, so I loved doing it.
One of his cars was a special Corvette Stingray, I guess, that he procured as one of the perks that the Mercury astronauts got back in those days. Do you remember the car?
Yeah, the 67 Corvette?
63?
Oh, 63. Well, that was the first year that they came out with the Stingray, and I basically I talked him into doing the coupe because of the split window, and picked the color on it.
In fact, there's a picture of your dad in the front seat of that car, and he looks like a very happy man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he loved driving his Corvette. Of course, he got speeding tickets to prove it.
Your father was the command pilot for the Apollo 1 mission, which obviously never got off the ground. Much has been written, much has been reported about the fire which killed your father, along with Ed White and Roger Chaffee. That appeared to be a doomed space vehicle from the beginning. Do you remember your father talking any about that before the test?
Yeah, I know they had a lot of problems with it. We had this, it's called a ponderosa lemon tree, and the lemon's about the size of a grapefruit. Well, he took one of those and hung it inside the spacecraft, and he about got fired over that one, which, looking back, probably would have been a good idea. And then, of course, he fought tooth and nail trying to get it to where it was space worthy. But I always had the impression that he didn't really want to go up in the spacecraft, because he mentioned a couple of times he'd rather fly an F-4 over North Vietnam than go up into Apollo 1. This was 1966, and I don't think it was a real safe spot being over North Vietnam at the time.
A wiring fire triggered an inferno inside the capsule, 100% oxygen environment. There was just a lot in hindsight that was wrong with that. But ultimately, your father died. What was the experience like for your mother, your brother, and yourself in the time after that?
It's just like, the life that you knew it was over, and then you got to find your way to a new life.
Did your mom struggle in that pursuit?
I couldn't tell if she did. I don't know. He was gone so much it didn't really change the family dynamics that much.
And speaking of your mother, she's still living in Houston, and you saw her just this last weekend.
Yeah, just left there this morning.
So how's she doing?
She's doing pretty good. She's still what I call too bright. Still can't get anything past her, so.
So you talk about going to Purdue, which was your father's alma mater, and according to the books I've read, where they started calling him Gus. By the way, your first name is really Gary. Your middle name is Mark. You go by Mark. Why?
I remember when they were teaching me my name, I was always put Mark first. And I never saw myself as a Gary, I guess. And then my mom got tired of saying Gary to me when I was in trouble and not answering it. And then she'd go, Gary Mark, and then she'd say, I'll just start calling him Mark. So
you
Mark.
had a chance, Mark, to come to school here at Texas A&M. Talk about that.
I think it was, I'm not sure who it was, some politician, I guess they can give out ROTC scholarships or something along that line, and said if I wanted to go to A&M that he would sign off on it. So, but that was towards the end of the Vietnam era, and I didn't really want to go in the military at that time.
But you would have gone as a pilot,
Yeah,
but because of those glasses you wear, your vision wasn't quite good enough.
Yeah, if I had 20/20 vision, I might have gone, but I didn't. Decided to go to Purdue.
So do you feel any affinity towards A&M and Aggies because you were born here?
Yeah, it's like my well, can't say my alma mater, but
You're adopted.
yeah, adopted. That's my second best for college. I root for them, of course.